Good evening, Ken.
Hey, good evening, Amit. I've been looking forward to this. This is a pleasure.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm so privileged to be doing this series because all of a sudden, like I told you a bit earlier, it's it's like an incredible phone call instead of a phone call. It's a visit, and I'm visiting
Yes.
with a friend. So this will be a
Yes.
fun interview. I hope everybody will enjoy it. I am with Ken Christian, and Ken authored a book, and I usually like the author to go ahead and say the name of the book and give us a subtitle and the details. Go ahead, Ken.
Okay. The name of the book is Your Own Worst Enemy: Breaking the Habit of Adult Underachievement. And it stems from some work, as you know, in my private practice originally as a psychologist. And I started working with kids who were performing poorly in school, even though their parents knew they were really bright. I was in a suburban Bay Area uh, community, and these were affluent parents. They had a serious concern about their kids, and they were just so bewildered by the kids' failure to thrive. So developed a program that then became a program for underachieving adults. And it really took off. Both programs took off. And so I went out and did what I could to find a recommendation for a literary agent. I found one. Actually, I had a friend who knew Dan Goleman, who had a very popular book then called Emotional Intelligence.
Let me ask you. I'm all about promotion, and I'm like
Yeah.
dying to see the cover. Can we see what it looks like?
Oh, absolutely. But you're going to need to cut the tape here. Hold on just a
That's all
second.
right. No, go ahead and get it. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to keep talking while he's gone. This is the kind of people that are my friends. Uh, they're in to give the information. He's not in to push the book, and I'm trying to tell him you gotta kind of show us the good stuff. He's got a fantastic program. Um, my name is Amid. I'm from the socialmedias.com, uh, where we launch entrepreneurs, ideas, and I'm in a room of 500. 4 days, 2 days ago, I flipped out of bed, and at 4:30 in the morning, I wrote this. The social medias, a new kind of TV station, created to be a free place. Me and you are equal, and your words are as important as mine. So here's Ken back. I'll finish this, and you'll find it on thatsocialmedia.com.
Okay, so you wanted to see the book. Here's
I,
the book.
I love it. The reason is it's like put it on the other side and up, literally. No, 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 no. You were doing good.
You want it in front of my face?
And if you could, yeah, and if you could just hold it for a minute, because I'm going to get a free shot out of it. Go ahead.
There you go.
A little bit higher. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. There. I could see Ken Christian on the bottom. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let's
So
keep
you're
going.
on worst enemy. And I think I was telling you that I was running a program for kids, and then I was actually invited to come to KQED FM, which is the NPR affiliate in San Francisco. And I was on the program, and a guy called in late in the program and said, I don't have kids. I'm not calling in to talk about kids. I'm calling in to talk about me. I was that kid, and I'm still underachieving, and so what do I do? And I went the next day with the associates that I was working with, and we developed a program for adults. And when I found that literary agent, she told me that the book she was interested in doing was the one about adults. So that's why I wrote that book and sent that book to her first. And it's been well received critically. It's never sold a bazillion copies, but people who read it love it. And so that's the story of my book.
So there are like whenever I read a book, if I can get one good nugget, I'm happy. But generally, when I bring my friends here on the program, I'm begging for five. So
Uh,
what are five really special nuggets? And that the audience here on the socialmedias.com TV station is expecting five. So I'm gonna
you're
ask
going
you,
to
what
get
about
five.
the
I can give
truth
you a penny.
of
I can give you a penny.
no, I only wanted five because I want people to remember five.
Okay.
The truth
It,
about how you can learn a new habit in 21 days. Tell me, what do you think about that?
well, that's a myth. But let me start with my book, because the truth about 21 days you can learn a habit comes out of my book, but it's a project that I'm working on now that we will talk about a little bit later. But let me tell you the biggest thing I learned about people who don't achieve as much as they want to. It's usually fear that robs them of their initiative. There are a number of things that can happen, but fear of making a fool of yourself in public is
I'm taking
huge.
notes. I'm not looking away. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
that's all right. So it's fear of failure. It's fear of being disappointed. If you've put something in your life on a pedestal forever and a day, and you've always said you wanted to do it, but you haven't moved forward and actually taken the risk of getting going, then a lot of people, the closer they get to actually doing it, to getting into law school, or if they get into law school, they actually don't take the bar exam. It's they're afraid that they're going to fail, and that's one. But the other is that they could actually be disappointed that in the end it turns out to not really be all that. And so that's another one. And then the other big thing that stops people is not, it gets talked about as the fear of success. And some people actually are afraid of being successful in a curious way. But the thing that really stops people is not a fear of success itself. It's a fear that if they're successful, people will demand more of them. And they're not sure they can deliver on the demands. And then they will be known as somebody not who just has talent, which is a safe place to hide, because you can say, well, I know I'm talented. I've been in Mensa or whatever, or I've gotten this or that. But if you don't ever put your talent on the line, you never fail. And so people who are afraid of failing, or afraid of the implications of success, that more will be demanded of them, they hesitate and they stop short. There's a classic experiment that was done with 10-year-old kids. They brought 10-year-old kids, Amit, into a like a big gymnasium at a school.
Yeah.
And all they did was hand the kids 3 bean bags. And they said, here's three bean bags. And look down there, you see there's a clown's mouth painted on this big cardboard thing. So they have this clown, there's a hole in the mouth, and they just hand them the 3 bean bags and they say, toss as many of these bean bags as you can into the clown's mouth. Now here's what the kids did. A certain number of the kids walked straight up to the front, right in front of the clown, boom, 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 3. I'm successful. A certain number of kids went back from a pretty serious distance where it would be a challenge, and they tossed the beanbags. Maybe they get 1 or 2 of them in, but they gave it a serious try. Then there was a third group. They walked all the way to the back of the gym, stood as far as they could from the clown's mouth, and heaved these beanbags. And here's the deal. If they failed, it's no big, because they can always say, well, if I'd stood up there like you guys, I could have done it. I was giving myself a challenge. So that's one thing that people do when they're afraid of failure. They'll take
I like how you gave it that well. I like that.
Yeah, they'll take ridiculous risks, right?
You know what? It's a little bit setting that giant goal that is a little bit of way too much of a stretch.
Because you say, well, yeah, I mean, I was misunderstood. I wanted to, cure cancer this week. And unfortunately, I couldn't, so I had to be a busboy.
Yeah.
So it's a way of hiding by saying that your goals are too lofty, or you're a misunderstood genius, or nobody understands your art, or that this complicated stuff about getting into a business, there's just too much technical stuff for me to learn on online marketing. I could never do it. You create this huge thing, and so you go to workshops, and you never step up to it and finally launch your first product because you still don't have enough information. All of those are ways of ducking, putting your butt on the line, and saying, I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm going to do it. And people who succeed learn to treat their mistakes as betas. It's a little
Yeah.
So those are ways people duck, and people can develop complicated strategies to duck. The longer they go, though, without putting themselves to the test, the harder it gets. And this is for all of us. If we avoid something and we put it off, we make it so much more difficult the next time out. And what I'm talking about is stuff that I'm living through right now. I'm in a product launch, and I've got to have egg on my face every other day with something, there's a buzz, there's a hum, there's something wrong with the videos, the lighting's not good. And you know what? I'm eating it all up because I have developed over time something that's really important. What's far more important for you to succeed and really be an ultimate success and a breakout performer is for you to have a mindset that says, if I don't know how to do it, it's not because I don't have talent. It's because I just don't know how to do it yet. It's a skills orientation instead of a talent orientation. We have in our culture so praise people with potential that having high potential is more important than people who actually accomplish things. We get mesmerized by these people who are wizards and prodigies and so on. But talent doesn't amount to actually very much unless a person is willing to, in some way,
Apply
humble
himself.
themselves and become a beginner. So I am such a beginner in this whole process that it's actually exciting to share what I know, which I know a lot of good material, but I'm with everybody else. I'm on, floor one, and I'm getting out a little earlier than some of us, but I've been taking classes from Brendan longer, so
Yeah.
it's no
You,
big
you know
whoop
what?
that I am.
You referenced the technical issue, and I really admired how you did that this week. I mean, I wanted to go on and blog a little bit, but I've been snowed under. I watched the Final Cut Pro, how you had a hum on one of the tracks, and I thought, there's no way in heaven he's gonna get that one fixed. And you got it done. And I'm like, this isn't the space to do technical conversation. But I
No,
just was
no.
very admirous of you doing that.
Well, but I truly got so much help from the forum. I mean, the people sent me so many suggestions. I got this crackerjack suggestion about how to go in and get the auto start going on YouTube videos.
Yeah.
But what I wound up doing is in Final Cut Pro, I was able to solve magically all the problems at once. It was amazing how easy it was to.
$299. I was trying to hold that one.
But I'm still on the 30-day trial. So for right now, it's free. But yeah, it's
and
but
that's
it's
an
a
Apple
magic
product, right?
It's an Apple product. Yeah.
Invariably, guys, during these things, we're gonna sneak in a word about Apple. I don't. Disclaimer: two things. I am promoting something with Ken at the end. I'm going to tell you about it, and that's how this station stays on the air. The social medias, TV is owned by your thinking. If a segment isn't popular, you just don't vote for it. If a segment is popular, you do vote for it. If you post something over on the blog, with the exception of the socially unacceptable language, it's going to stay. If a competitor comes and posts his ad, I'm not going to remove it as long as that competitor gives us the similar right over on his wall. This is going to be a space that mimics a place we've lived in. We've lived in a group of all of us, authors and publishers and creators, where the giving is genuine. And what Ken is talking about, he learned to get all these steps. And really, I urge you to go and click on the button to see his, is it 3 or 4 trainings you're going to end up with?
I've got 3 videos that are now. The third one was put up yesterday, but you can join the sequence right from the beginning.
So we're going to have links underneath that take you to the beginning of Ken's thinking. And I've seen all the videos. This morning he was like, did you see the videos? So I sent him the color of his shirt and all of them. I see, you know what? I see all my friends' videos. And if they're boring, they bore me too, and I minimize them and keep listening. So if you grab my attention, you got it. If you don't grab my attention, you don't got it. I love your videos. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm glad. Where that conversation was going, I was getting worried, Meet, but I'm glad you said it.
No, you know what? I wouldn't be having this interview if I didn't think highly of you. I'm kind of blunt,
Fantastic.
you know that.
Fantastic. So here's the deal.
The
you said
truth about the
days.
21 habit, I think
Let me tell you about the 21 days. My book is a guy named Maxwell Maltz wrote a book called Psycho Cybernetics, and Psycho Cybernetics, and he said somewhere in that book. Now get what he said. He said it takes about 21 days for an amputee who gets a prosthetic device. It takes about 21 days for them to get used to the prosthetic.
That's not true.
Now, an amputee who puts on an artificial limb of some kind has that limb on 16 hours a day, at least, depending on how much sleep they get.
Yeah.
They're getting feedback that entire time.
Yeah.
It takes, if you're going to really talk about a transformational change, the kind of change that you want to go like from one career to an entirely different career, or you want to get rid of a habit that's really holding you up in your life, like something you eat, drink, or put in your body that's not good for you, or you're obese, whatever. it takes to develop new habits that really firmly get into place and get locked in, it takes a minimum of 84 days, 12 weeks. I always talk about 14 weeks because that's the length of time I worked with the kids and the adults. Because over 14 weeks, you go from saying, I'm just doing something, to beginning to see yourself as actually in a new place, actually having arrived.
If
But
I
here's the
buy
interesting.
if I buy your CD set, what nuggets will I likely learn the most?
Okay, you're going to learn about how long it takes, the mindset you need. It does take 12 to 14 weeks, and a whole lot of people bail when they're on major transformations at 70 days, 14 days away from where they needed to be. You have to think in terms of this is a 3-month effort, basically.
Every one of us thinks of his work as a chunk. Mine are 18 months. I think if I'm doing something, I'm going to give it a year and a half, and I'm going to put my all into it for a year and a half, and whatever develops at the beginning, I take 3-month chunks like you're talking about in that year and a half. I do this, and if that is not it, okay, I tweak and I do this, but I'm still on the same train. Okay, after about a year, I want to see that I've gone from the bottom of the valley, like Brendan talks about, to about the ridge. If I'm not at the ridge, I get discouraged. But I look back and I say, wow, we developed so much. I would love to see you say that right at the opening. That's what everyone identifies with. We all struggle with this. What do you do? How much time do you give to start creating real change? And I think what I'm understanding, you got to put about 3-month time.
You got to put a minimum of 3 months' time. There's 4 stages that are really clear. You have to get real, then you have to get ready, then you have to finally get going, and then the final thing you got to do is lock that in. Get real.
Get real.
You got to know, you got to really think through where you are now and where you want to go.
Can you back up from the mirror, from the screen a little bit? Because you look great. There, you look much better. Get real. Next.
Right. You got to be serious and take yourself seriously and know where you are now. So that's get real.
Get real.
Then you've got to get ready. You don't just change. You need to make preparations. You have to revise your schedule. You may have to do some research. If you were getting into a business, you would be doing research. People who might likely be looking at this forum have been getting ready by attending workshops and taking study courses. So that's the getting ready part. But then you've got to get going. That's the part about taking action, and nothing really happens because you can stay forever in the get real and get ready. Nothing really happens until you act. So then you've got to take action, and you have to persist in that action until you lock in the changes. And locking in the changes means making revisions in your life, in your daily routine, that actually make room for you to do what you've been saying. And that means eradicating all these distractions that are always taking us off course. If you can set up, and this is really strong in the work I'm doing now in the videos, if you can set up, and I show you exactly how to do it, 2 60-minute blocks very early in your day where you have nothing on, like your email or your cell phone, or you won't be texted. If you have to work on your computer, you shut off all the programs like social media that could alert you and send you a ping. Oh, I wonder what that comment is. And you do that. And here's a nugget of information. If you get distracted, what I say in the tape series is it takes, if you're concentrating and you're interrupted, it takes from 6 to 20 minutes to get your focus back where it was before the interruption. And you have to count the time also that you lost due to the interruption, the phone call or the Twitter or the whatever.
So what I find is the worst is when I get up and open the email and the social media in the morning. It shoots my most productive portion of the day, and I'm guilty of it.
Exactamente. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Jeff Walker, during his recent, and normally I don't reference names, but a lot of people in this sphere know who Jeff is, talked about how he has 3 hours, I think, or 4 hours, 3 hours in his day, And when he's done with those 3 hours, and he takes a break in between every hour, but when he's done with those 3 hours, he is exhausted because he
Yeah.
had been on task all 3 hours and
Right.
got, we did one video,
Right.
keep the main thing the main thing. He was keeping the main thing the main thing.
I talk about 2 2 hour blocks. 2 hour block early before you turn on any social media. A break in the middle when you have to deal with things, you have to answer email, you have to make calls. 2 hour block in the afternoon early after you've taken a serious rest, had a meal, and so on. I also talk about starting your day ceremonially, starting with a kind of opening ritual. I talk
Starting,
about
I wish, is it okay if I move some of this stuff around? This should be the opening sentence. I remember when
yeah,
I was listening, put a ceremony, celebrate your day's start, da, 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 and then celebrate the ending. And then one of the things I've learned from all of you in the forum is don't take computer back to the bedroom. We no longer take PCs to the bedroom, or even my little iPad. I don't like to take it to the bedroom because the bedroom is a space for sleep. So
right.
go ahead. Start your day ceremoniously.
Ceremonially. Start it with a ceremony of some kind. And here's the thing, if you put together sequences of actions that you're used to, and they go in the same sequence every day, you learn them faster and you begin to develop routines that will support much more achievement in a day, because your actions, instead of being random and reactive, you know where you're going. Your brain loves that. Your brain loves novelty, but it also loves structure. And with what we know from the brain, and with this research that's gone on about change and how change really occurs and how long it actually takes, there's another thing about change, which is it actually doesn't make you feel good, especially in the beginning. But a lot of it doesn't make you feel good because you're confused, you're learning new things, you feel bewildered. There's something in ski lessons and in tennis lessons and golf lessons called the Valley of Doom. It's immediately after you take a lesson, your game gets worse. Always it gets worse. You ski worse after a ski lesson. The reason is you're focusing on all these new things and everything's out of balance. So change does not make you feel good. And people who get real elated at a workshop and think that they've changed, no, they've just been elated at a workshop.
Yeah.
You have to consistently work. It's at about 3 months out that you can begin to say, you know what? I'm really getting somewhere. Before that, I love it that you feel good and you feel a rush. And in fact, I teach a technique that's actually dangerous because it makes people feel so good. They feel so much more productive, and they are so much more productive so fast that the risk is they'll want to feel that way every day, or they'll actually get scared because it doesn't feel like it's who they're used to being. I'm not supposed to get that much done, because you can do more in 2 hours. You can do more if you have no interruptions than you've been doing in 12 hours. I swear to you.
If you stood with me and this conversation was starting over from scratch, and I said, Ken, I'm going to buy your CD set. First of all, who should I be? Who would be if I was sending you a customer, what would your perfect, really not a customer, a client, someone that you're going to teach a life-changing habits to, who would be perfect to send you?
The perfect person to send to me, the one I know I can really make a huge impact on, is somebody who's working from home.
So if you're a Soho, this is perfect for you.
Oh, this is the golden ticket. This is the magic key. Because here's what happens with people who work at home. They say, my work is my play. Oh, I love working all day. Well, what they do really is they stay up for about 16 hours and they disperse their work through it in this kind of mixed smear, where they've never really worked hard, they've never really played hard, they've never really stopped to rest, they've never had a laugh, they never had a good meal, and they wind up feeling like they were really busy all day and they didn't really accomplish that much when it was all over.
So to a Soho, I'm going to say 2 or 3 of the really fun words I learned today. Let me see, I'm looking down. start your day with a ceremony. It's probably the number one. Start and end your day with a ceremony. Maybe a
Yeah.
ceremony, what? Ringing a bell? What is the favorite ceremony of yours?
Could be ringing a bell, but I get up in the morning. I stretch immediately. I do it while I'm still in bed.
Yes,
Then I do some more stretches when I'm standing. Then
yes,
I go in and I drink two 12-ounce glasses of water
yes.
really
We,
fast.
we learned the value of that. I brought mine for the interview.
Yeah, but I do it boom, and not all. I'm not sipping water all day. I do it in big,
Yeah,
like an elephant,
yeah,
and that sustains me. And it takes a while to get used to that. All you do at first is pee, but your body will learn to actually, your cells will learn to expand.
yeah.
I do those things. Then I have a quiet time and a kind of meditative period. Then I actually do Roger Love vocal exercises to strengthen my voice for speaking.
Yeah.
And I do all of that before I eat breakfast.
Yeah.
Then I eat a really, really substantial breakfast. And I haven't turned on the internet except when I'm in something like this week,
Yes.
when I'm doing a product launch,
Yes.
because I have to, because that is my serious work, is
Yes.
to stay online, follow up on things and do it.
Yes.
But if I'm on a regular day, as soon as I look at an email, my day is poisoned.
Yes.
I mean, it is poisoned.
Well, you know what? Our teacher, Brendan Bouchard, I'm going to say his name, teaches us that email is nothing but a place for other people to put themselves on your agenda. And
yeah, he's actually paraphrasing Evan Pagan, who
Okay.
I've learned a lot from about these blocks of time. Brendan is a marvel. Evan's a marvel. They're very different marvels. They're like two ends of different magnets or something. But I have learned so much from Brendan, and I don't do what Brendan does, though.
Yeah.
I don't look at my email to see if some email has come in. To me, it's like I touch pollution if I get near the screen. It's not good for me. So I say to people, learn what works for you.
Yeah.
But there's some things that work for everybody.
Yeah.
And having a 2-hour block of time in the middle where you take a 5-minute break in the middle. Also, if you switch activities after 60 minutes, you can then come back to that activity in the afternoon and you'll be fresh all over again. But your mind doesn't get tired as long as you provide it novelty about every 60 minutes. So you can go from 60 minutes, take a 5-minute break, and go 60 minutes again on something new. And the back of your mind will be processing what you worked on the first round, and the front of your mind will be processing the new stuff. And your mind is just going to be going, I'm so delirious.
Yeah.
Then it's great to take a rest.
Yeah.
Really great to take a break.
So it's about 60 minutes before we really kind of get attention deficit, move on type thing. And so
Yeah,
if you plan
but
it that way,
it's really to focus like your life depended on it.
Yeah.
That's the kind of focus you need. It needs to be like a laser. I often talk about the way people were on all-nighters in college,
Yes.
where they were getting so much done.
Yes.
It is very addictive because they get so much done in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Imagine working a 2-hour block and getting so much done and then being able to break. But instead of having to turn it in the morning, being able to come back to it, say 3 or 4 days later, and polish it.
Yeah.
So it shimmers.
Yeah.
And then you got something.
Yeah.
But it is so great to focus your attention. And that's a huge emphasis of the program. And there are 3 videos. And then, of course, it's leading up to my introducing a project I've been working on, which is a new product, a 6-hour CD set. And actually, the videos are going to be released on that tomorrow. And my sales page will be open beginning tomorrow.
okay. So Ken is referencing the launch we talked about at the top of this conversation. This is the social media TV, as I promise you on top. I'm going to read it here, and at some point I will read it again. The social media, a new kind of TV station created to be a free place. Me and you are equal. Your word is as important as mine. This TV station will be featuring over 500 of my close friends who are authors and publishers and creators. I met and hugged and laughed with many of them. We hope to include you in these randomly broadcast episodes. We, the group of authors, consider one another soulmates on so many levels, and we've come to live in a world of incredible peace. Forgive me, I have to read it because I created this a couple of days ago.
Sure.
A world of incredible peace when we are together, and we would like to include you in that, you being the audience. Welcome to the Social Medias TV. You will find only on the web at thesocialmedias.com. What's really unique is these authors are coming in here and they're pouring their heart out. They're my personal friends, folks. So they've got a vulnerability in here that is really unique. We're going to have special treatments for you. They will all have their own page on thesocialmedias.com. It's thesocialmedias.com. These folks are going to all be the heads of their own media company. They'll be the Ken Christian author, publisher, trainer, seminar leader, speaker, ebook publisher, webinar creator. We have 12 different venues and all of us are working in them. And it is so much fun to bring you this because I hope you feel the energy. For me, it's an incredible fun. This station is maintained strictly on you participating in the author's offering. And all of the content that we're recording is going to be free. It's teaching content. Spread the word. You know what? I could tell you click and stick and subscribe. But I'm not going to tell you that because I know you're going to take this stuff and spread it because it's real. It's from the highest experts in their own field. And Ken, I'm so honored that you came.
Well, I'd like to say that it's been an honor for me to be with you, Amit, and to be invited to be, I think, your second guest. I feel very honored. And no, I think there's just so much to learn that's factual, that's available to us now, to dispel myths, to have a good mindset. And for me, a mindset is more than a way of looking at things. It's also having accurate information. And there's so much inaccurate information out there that's well-intended, it's well-intentioned, people are good people, but if you're working, it's like chasing yourself down blind alleys. You try something and you get disappointed. And let's say, I've talked to so many people since I put it out that what you need is 12 weeks minimum, who say, that really fits my pattern. I've done so many things and stopped at about 10 weeks. And the research is there. So that kind of information is what's, these videos are filled with, and what my 6 CD set is filled with. And it's attractively packaged. It looks good. I can hold it up here if you want me to. Okay. I think I do have some still pictures I've already taken.
Perfect. Just send it to me.
Here's how it looks from the end. It's got,
nice.
These are DVD jewel. It is a CD set.
So and it's $199.
It's $197.
$197.
Yeah, but it's got bonuses that are worth nearly $300. They're going to get a copy of a teleseminar that I did with Susan Johnstone on how to get unstuck when you get stuck. It's breaking out of the stuck zone, and that's a $79 retail.
Please check out the work. If you're not thinking of becoming...
Now I can hear you.
If you're not thinking of becoming Ken's immediate trainee, go through the free training. It's really awesome. It's Ken giving some very good content, and it's worth listening to. I really listened to him. I liked him. Listen to the free tapes. Listen to the training. Like everything here on the socialmedias.com. Ken is going to have his own page, and in the bottom of this page, there's going to be a space where you blog. And whatever you blog, Ken will get a copy of. So please, if you have a comment for him, if you have a comment for me, try to blog over on the front page of the social media. At first, this will be on the front page for this month, and then it'll move over to the according month. We're probably going to index them by name and subject and topic. I haven't worked all that out yet, but it will always be on the social medias. If you're seeing this somewhere out in the world and it's not connected, search or go to the website called the Social Medias. Search for the name Ken Christian. This interview will be in its entirety. I'm going to edit a little bit because we had an internet connection problem. I'm a huge fan of first takes, and I'm a huge fan of minimally cutting. So if you see chopping in my video, something really went wrong. We didn't want to include you in the conversation. I'm big on including you.
I enjoyed it too. I'm glad to be here when you launch.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you.
God bless you.